There it is. The original, non-director's cut, Deadly Premonition. The most incredibly misplaced PS2 game in existence, by virtue of the fact it came out on 360 and not the PS2. So, because of this occasion, yes, despite this being a 360 game, a game on a system capable of outputting at HD resolutions, we're running this at the resolution and aspect ratio that it clearly deserves. 16:9 letterboxed at 480i. Fucking deal with it, nerds.
Oh. Yep.
And also just letting this... just letting this opening cutscene just play before we even get to the start screen.
It's dangerous to run around here, boys.
Grandpa, hurry! Hurry up! Grandpa, you're too slow.
It's setups like this, like the way I'm playing this now, that I feel is, to most people, insane, but I feel is like fun enough to do. Just the idea of, yeah, because I have a CRT that supports component inputs, why not just hook up this machine to it and see how it handles it? I know everyone from back in the day always had like the horror stories of like how like unreadable Dead Rising was back then. Plus, it's honestly kind of like a weird, fascinating experiment, I guess, to like play these 360 games like on a CRT, just to see whether or not they built the entire thing around 16:9 as the aspect ratio, or if they had the foresight to like include both standard and widescreen. Because of like all like the games that I own, I can at least point to 4 out of the 7 that I own that absolutely do have it in gameplay, you know? Like the first 2 are Amped 3 and Dead or Alive 4, which were like launch... Well, like, Amped 3 was specifically launch date, DOA 4 was launch window, but like, they were like, 2005 games for the system when it was, like, straight up new. And DOA 4 especially looks honestly fucking gorgeous on this thing. And then, like, what else? Oh, yeah. Ninja Gaiden 2 also has it, but it also has the option for, like, letterbox 16:9 if you so choose. But, like, yeah, that's at least something that you can set, like, in the game's main options. And then, lastly, is Shadows of the Dam, which I think I went over during the Lollipop Chainsaw stream, where I just mentioned that I put it in on a whim and was surprised to find that, yeah, well, like, the menus and cutscenes were all 16:9, you know, letterbox, but like the gameplay itself would go to 4:3, and that weirdly made the field of view like somewhat more palatable on that game. It didn't change the fact that it's still Shadows of the Dam, but I thought that was like it was kind of nice to see that difference. Yeah, and alas, unfortunately, Deadly Premonition in particular, despite its very PS2-ness in graphical fidelity, to the point that I find having it be rendered in 480i does not do it a disservice. Because 720 and 1080 sure as hell don't do much to fix it. But it is 100% like letterboxed the whole way, even in gameplay. So that's fine, I suppose. We can at least think of it from the perspective of this is even more just the most jank budget RE4 imitation possible. even then, imitation I feel kind of oversells, and that's really only applied to like the combat, you know? During the bits where you're in the other world. Movement, I guess, is still the same otherwise. Very classic Resident Evil tank controls. The good stuff. Except it doesn't feel good here, but that's not why you play this game. You play it for what you're seeing right here. Man. This game. What a gem. To think it's been, what, like, over 11 years now. 11 years plus since I was first exposed to this game via Giant Bomb's, like, endurance runs. Both of them. And just seeing how, like, the entire GB crew was, like, kind of, like, thrown for a loop by just how compelling, yet absolutely jank and terrible feeling this game is to play. Alright. And we're also gonna go straight into new game, obviously. Yes. Override it. Like, the old data was just from doing practice runs of this just to kind of get in my head, like, what I was gonna do for a playthrough of this. Because I've watched plenty of playthroughs of Deadly Premonition before. Obviously, the endurance run. I've seen a couple Let's Plays, like Super Great Friends in particular was a very good one from back in the day. Yeah, main theme is fantastic. Yeah, like this song, as well as Life is Beautiful, like some good stuff. But yeah, the thing I'm gonna be going for with this is that, as the stream title says, I am doing a completionist playthrough. I'm going to be going through the main game while also making sure to get absolutely all the side content. Pick up all those trading cards, do the side quests, unlock all those, like, good bonus items that can completely break the game because it deserves nothing less than that. And I got a walkthrough on hand to kind of point me in the right direction for every step of the way, because at least for the entirety of episode 1, based on what I did in the practice run and, like, reading through the walkthrough I'm using as reference, there's going to be a lot of me after specific chapters doing chapter replay just to farm, I guess is the best way to put it, like farm doing specific like side quests that where, like, you do one and then the next one does not open up until you access the next chapter or do a chapter replay. Break as in crashing or soft locking? No, break as in just make the entire game your bitch and not even a challenge anymore. You know? I'm talking about stuff like the infinite durability weapons, or the stuff that has infinite ammo. Crashing and soft locking, ideally I'm going to be avoiding, because as I'm aware, like, this game still has that. Like, this particular version. And also because of the goal to, like, do a lot of chapter replays at specific moments so that I can get a whole lot of side quests and bonus items out of the way. I'm actually not so much for Mondays, just because I can't get around the fact that I have work beforehand. So this is, like, Mondays is always gonna be, like, at the same time that I always do streams that day, but Wednesdays and Saturdays, I'm planning on, like, moving those to, like, earlier in the day for me, just so I'm afforded a bit more time than simply 3 hours. Because if I was just focusing on the critical path, I wouldn't really need to change, like, my schedule just to get it done in a reasonable time. But I have never, like, on top of, like, because of all the playthroughs I have seen of this game across different versions, I've never actually played through any one of them to completion on my own time. And a lot of that, truth be told, was because I had kind of like deep in my mind decided that like if I wanted a version to own and keep playing, it was this 360 original. Like the only one I had like physically touched myself was the director's cut back on PS3, which was fine. It was clearly more fucky in the technical sense compared to this version was.
Listen, they both need each other. It's called interdependency, and they both know it.
Yeah, it's like PC and like I'm gonna assume on a limb the Switch version as well. Like, it definitely seems like each version of this game that they re-release continues to show more and more technical problems. This, as far as I'm aware, only has like 2 notable like soft locks or like bugs of that nature that happen. One is like if you get like a story like progression item during the chapter, and then you save and quit, that item will sometimes disappear. And then the other is specifically like a cutscene, I think it is at the end of episode 1, where like if you try and like skip through it, it'll have a chance of just causing the game to like stay on a black screen indefinitely.
Who'd have thought there'd be razors laced into her nails? Crazy. Just crazy. Well, at least I now have a scar to show off.
Still, all in all, I'm excited to go through this. I may already have the knowledge of what this game has in store, like plot-wise and like levels and gameplay and all that. But like I still maintain, even when you like focus so much on like experiencing the game through other people's playthroughs, like it's still never 100% the same as if you were to just play it yourself. Yeah, 360 version is like, yeah, from what I had like guessed on my own and like was further backed up by people like doing the analysis, is that yeah, this original version really is the best to play. And like not only on 360 obviously, but on Xbox One and onward, if you can believe it, because this game surprisingly got on the Xbox One backwards compatibility list. And I'm guessing from there, it's like, it probably doesn't. I take it the Xbox One back compat version of this doesn't boost like the frame rate past what its clear limit is, which is 30. But I imagine keeping it more stable combined with a higher resolution is probably also like a nice avenue for people that care about getting the absolute like technical performing version. And yeah.
There goes
yeah,
the civilized world.
I've heard similarly that PC version not recommended. Yeah, probably unknown heroes at the PC division. True. God, it's like it's kind of a shame. Like it is so impressive, like the effort that the back compat team put into like that stuff for 360 and Xbox, but man, it's kind of a shame that that's like the only redeeming thing about Microsoft systems these days, because everything else is just lacking in like everything else that that Sony is already doing well, like original games. It's just kind of the weird opposite position they're in. Even if it's up for $3, don't play the PC version. True. In fact, you should be getting paid those $3 in order to play it. Yeah. Oh, you want your PS5? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Like, it just literally starts you with the mission knife and the steel pipe in hand. Oh, you want to like your PS5? Okay. I'm still avoiding as best I can, like trying to even think about possibly getting or even wanting a PS5 just because it is like price point and like current financial situation and like my own priorities. Like I want to get to a good point with like what retro hardware and games I have in my collection before I even think about like stepping back into playing anything on a modern console. Switch notwithstanding, but that's only because I've had a Switch for like almost 3 years at this point. Okay. Through the rainy woods we go. Playing Monster Hunter World on PS5 is a dream. Yeah, I can see that, yeah. Honestly, I feel like playing the games that, like, the PS4 games that got enhancements with the Pro, playing those on PS5 would probably be enough of, like, a worthwhile dream for me. Because I'm definitely not... Because I still only have my vanilla PS4 and, like, kind of no matter what, like, there's definitely no reason to justify just upgrading to a PS4 Pro. There definitely are, like, some games on there where I would like to kind of experience those benefits. Oh, well. But even so, like, I think even before a PS5... The thing that I'm still having to deal with is just the reality that, like, I'm having to go so long without like a desktop PC again. I only have this laptop, you know, and it's serviceable enough. Like I can still play Doom Eternal on it just fine, as I've been habitually doing at least once a week. But man, with like some of the new games that have come out that I'd like to play on PC, mainly Deathloop, it's like mad pangs of jealousy, especially towards all them motherfuckers that were able to get their hands on a 3000 series Nvidia card. Still rocking an i5 2500K. Wow. Yeah. I mean, that works for you. I'm at least fortunate enough that with this laptop I have, the specs that are in it are actually comparable to the old desktop I had before I had to ditch it during the move. The only thing that I think that's different is that the GPU is slightly better. Like, it's a 1660 instead of a 1060 Ti. Or not 1060. I think it was a 1050 Ti, in fact. Come on. Line up the headshots. Got him. Okay, last one of these dumb limbo zombies. Still, what a delightfully weird enemy type. Like, this game just has ideas and kind of just rolls with it, you know? Profiling start. All this foreshadowing to scenes that have no context, but to, like, spoiler culture sensitive assholes, they would, like, say that this is ruining what's to come.
That one takes the cake.
As if they'd
It's
know.
the first time I've been attacked so directly. Zach, can you give me a logical explanation about what that was? Never mind, don't answer. Life is fun because of the mysteries. Right, Zach?
Yeah, sure is. Ah, yes, our first lollipop from a pile that will actually keep spawning infinite amounts of lollipops. So let's just fill up on that while we can. Yes, I am dead serious about doing this. I need all the food I can get for, like, the amount of, like, still, like just going without sleep or like eating at like a restaurant for immersion's sake. Oh, could have done so, but was selected by Sony to buy a PS5, so you did. Okay. Yeah. Admittedly, I actually got one of those emails saying that I was selected for like for the chance to buy a PS5, but I still turned it down because it's like I could think of a lot of better things that I would rather like put $500 on at the moment. Didn't know about this or God. Yeah, there's some spots in the game where like you can get an infinite amount of like specific types of food items. Like I know there's another one that's like near the tree of Anna where you or yeah, I think it's the tree near the tree of Anna, and also like in the graveyard where you can just get like an infinite supply of pickles. So let's double check where the current count is at. 12. Okay, just gotta pick up 8 more, then we can answer the phone and go on through the rest of these woods. So gotta say, with a game like this, for as jank and bad feeling as it can be, it is proof that like you stick with something for some amount of time, ultimately less than you think it is amazing just what you can get used to and become proficient with. I definitely was feeling it like during like my practice runs of this, just to kind of get used to the controls again, as well as like the in-world logic behind like what triggers like certain quests to happen, combined with the weather that the town of Greenvale can go through. Because, yeah, I mentioned before, this is basically just like a jank RE4. It's tank controls with the camera locked behind the back. There we go. We hit the max. There we go. Man, this really is like a game that genuinely like gets a fun like advantage from being played on a CRT. Though, to be fair, I feel like that's something that could be said for pretty much like any like survival horror or anything like vaguely horror themed, you know? So, like, the more you think about it, for the kind of game this is and the sort of activities you mostly spend time in, it definitely does. I remember back in the day how, like, this game in particular really does leave a very bizarre first impression because of you basically going through like the worst imitation of Resident Evil 4 imaginable. You know? Like it doesn't even throw you into the actual like town and open world aspect head first. You're kind of left with this and just going, what the hell am I even playing?
Amazing, amazing, amazing.
There we go. Already, though, I am kind of missing, like, my infinite durability weapons. Just because of, again, like, the practice run-throughs that I did of, like, the first episode. Before, like, ultimately having to tell myself to stop, otherwise I would defeat the purpose of why I wanted to stream this in the first place. It's a very difficult balance when you've decided to have streaming be like a regular hobby for yourself. Because you have to realize that not every single game you play is something that you can just pop in and like play as much or little as you want in your free time. Ugh. Anything in here? No, just the toolbox. Broken generator. Ah. Oh, yeah. Another padlock. Nothing that can't be solved by just shooting a bullet in it. Breaks it clean off. Doesn't ricochet and hit you or anything else by accident. And so far, doing a good job of not getting a fist down my throat from these weirdos. Power in the area should be much more stable, and we can move on. And there we were with the superior door opening animation, because it is actually, like, something that happens in a reasonable amount of time. Got him. Nothing to it. The crappy aim is something you just kind of have to put up with. At least even with like playing this on normal, because of the knowledge that you have of like certain side quests that are good to do in order to get certain items, it's like yeah, they clearly like made the combat in the director's cut onward like super easy by default, like one hit kill on every single enemy that wasn't a boss, just because they knew that it was bad. But at the same time, you basically just achieve the same effect anyway in this game if you get like any of the weapons with infinite ammo, or like a melee weapon with infinite durability. Because there is a point where you just become unstoppable with it as a result. Alright, just keep running. Might just be able to no damage this. Yeah, we really do not need anything else from these guys. Let's just get to the QTE. And we'll see whether or not I can actually get the first button prompt. Oh, what a surprise, I did. I didn't even get that the first time when I did the practice run, when I, after, like, getting this copy. Not bad. Not bad at all. Such ominous red vines. And there we go. We got all the pieces of evidence. In quotes, I guess. This game is so good. It's so bad because it's so, like, it's so good because it's so bad.
There's definitely something in this town. Do you feel it, Zach? My coffee warned me about it.
Yesterday morning, the milk I poured in my coffee made a sign. It said, "Tomorrow you'll arrive in a place that will change your fate."
We don't need to save just because the cutscene at the end over that way is just gonna give us a save prompt afterwards. Funny thing, when I was doing my first test run through of this, I actually went the opposite of the direction just to kind of see what happens, because I've never seen anyone, at least I don't recall seeing anyone like try and test like the absolute boundaries of the game world. And like and as you approach it, you just enter like a fog that, like, as it approaches, it starts to look like Silent Hill, but then it becomes just all-encompassing that you can no longer even see York. Like, that's a very interesting way to kind of get around the conundrum of any open-world game, which is, how do you make a reasonable boundaries to stop players from going past the edge of the world?
Now you were very late.
And there she is.
I didn't think you'd keep me waiting in the rain for so long.
The best-looking character model of this
FBI
entire
Special
game.
Agent Francis
At
York
least of the
Please
female
just call me York.
characters.
That's what everyone calls me.
Agent York?
Good, that's good. Are you the sheriff?
No, I'm Deputy Sheriff Emily Wyatt. George, he's the sheriff. He went looking for you, actually. He should be back soon.
I see.
If you don't mind me asking, did you walk all the way here?
Yes,
My
yes
car
I
broke
did.
down, that's all.
My calves are literally on fire. They have not stopped for 3 days.
She's easy on the eyes. Definitely worth a trip to the primitive world.
By the way, don't mention anything about what happened back there. She'll think you're a psycho. Don't want that, do we, Zach?
Welcome to Greenvale. I'm the sheriff, George Woodman. Call me George.
Yo, it's the big man himself. Look at that handlebar mustache. Look
FBI
at it.
Special Agent Francis York Morgan. Please, just call me York. That's what everyone calls me.
Could you tell me why the FBI is so interested in a small-town homicide?
Fun
Let's just say
fact,
it's
the voice actor
personal
for
interest in
George,
killers of
I don't
your
know
own.
his specific
I'm
name,
always looking for new sample
but I
cases
am
to help
familiar
me
with
approach
2 other games in which he actually voices
Both are
like characters
superiors
in
to each
those.
other.
The first is House of the Dead 4,
remain in command.
where he is like the
have a problem
one of the
with this
player characters. I think it's Harry.
No problem.
Is like, and then the second, funny
Just
enough,
wanna
is
set
the
things
first
straight.
the
Our
first
small town
disaster
has its
report
share of
game,
problems.
where like he's like the opening narrator voice
I'm
that
the
is
one
implied to be
fixing
your
them
main
one by
character.
one and maintaining peace and order. You can have your profiling sample, but I need you to understand that.
Of course, of course. By the way, George, I had a little accident with my car. Could you send someone to take care
York
of
is such an ass.
Oh, and my clothes and luggage are still inside.
He's good at his job, but man, does
Alright.
like
Don't worry.
his own like habits and mannerisms
assistant
just
Thomas
piss
to
off
take
people
care of it.
without him realizing.
Do you need anything else?
Thanks. That'll be all. Well then, I think I'll rest up first at the hotel. Then I'll join you on your investigation.
Don't know how to say that. We really don't need your help. Unlike some of your corrupt city police officers, I play it by the book. I hope you'll come to appreciate that, Agent Morgan.
The
And
fuck
we'll
you
handle
say,
the
bitch?
investigation. You just think of this as a vacation. Take it easy. Enjoy the nature here. You don't have to be a tree worshiper.
That is
to
literally my
appreciate
favorite
the
part of this
wildlife.
entire cutscene. Because it is just the ultimate solidifying of this antagonistic relationship in which the dude that doesn't want your help literally calls you by anything other than what he prefers to be called as. Ah, there we go. Prologue complete. Yeah, 22 and a half minutes. Clearly not counting like all the cutscenes and other stuff that we've had in between that. Ugh. And now we could get to start episode 1, where my insane completionist strategies and playthroughs are really gonna start to shine.
Previously during the investigation.
These puppies are making me go
Ah,
to
yeah.
another town in the
Previously on
I
scene
didn't
that
think you'd keep me waiting in the
so
rain
many
for
people
so
get
long.
way too familiar with just because
I'm the
this
sheriff,
doesn't
George
this doesn't recap things on a per chapter basis. It does it on a per episode basis.
Do you feel it, Zach?
And there are like
Coffee,
6 chapters in total that encompass episode 1. Like, this game's idea of like divvying up all this, like all these chapters and like the length for each of them is so weird. But yeah, we got the trading card, which is all we could really get here.
York!
Oh yeah, this part, the introduction of holding your breath. Something that I feel like most people that play this game never really use that in like the intended normal gameplay purpose. Like, people only really bother using it specifically during moments like this where it's like a glorified QTE. Just gotta hold this thing down. Not let go. Yeah, real creepy. Just keep moving, kid. For God's sake, just go. God, just them holding their breath for that long is like, God, like you'd be straining that like after a point.
Who
Done.
are you?
The pickles. Oh yeah, here we are. Name one other game that actually goes to the effort, the pains of having a character sleep under the sheets. Any 2D game's disqualified because that clearly would just be like a sprite layering trick. You know what I mean? And just the way that like it moves and the forms is so bad looking, but like who cares? Because again, like what people out there even do this sort of thing?
Trees, a carpet.
Not even AAA devs with all like the fucking money they swing around trying to show how big their dick is, even go to this length.
Swear I've seen him before.
It's ridiculous.
Can't remember where. Well, it'll probably come back to me eventually. For now, we need coffee.
Yeah, you do.
Let's head to the cafeteria, Zach. I hope they have some real coffee. I really need some coffee. Then we can head to the sheriff's office. There's a proper procedure for everything, right, Zach?
And even decent reflections. I mean, decent by the standards of, like, this game's graphical fidelity already, but I mean, like, at least it is accurately reflecting what is in the room with the characters. Yeah. Just going straight to the cafeteria. I know that there's like randomly strewn about like different agent honors in the inside. But I just want to get to the next chapter where we can actually go outside of the hotel and do the major things on our list. Yeah, this wonderful theme.
Polly Oxford. Just Polly is fine.
Well then. Thank you, Polly. I'm starving.
Rolling up her sleeves to to fix you the fucking
Is everything
breakfast
all
of your
right, Mr.
life.
Morgan?
Yes, it's delicious, Polly. My compliments to the chef.
I'm hoping my cooking will bring back repeat guests. Honestly, though, it's been a while since anyone has stayed here.
I couldn't help but notice. Aside from you and me, there seems to be no other guests or workers around.
Sour,
that?
please.
The salt's in that white shaker there.
Thank you.
You can't even reach that salt and pepper shaker unless you literally get out of your seat and walk to the dead center of the table.
I used to run this place, but he's in
This whole scene is so stupid. I love it.
Must be hard by yourself.
Oh my, we're all out of pepper. I'm very sorry.
It must be difficult to run a hotel by yourself.
Well, yes, I suppose. I could just live on my pension. But I have to admit, running a hotel is kind of like a hobby of mine.
That's nice. Polly, it might help to hear you better if you could sit a little closer.
Oh my, Mr. Morgan. You're embarrassing.
Oh, this woman.
So early in the day, too.
This old coot.
And I'm a little too old for you. And I still love my departed husband. May God rest his soul. I appreciate the invitation, but I'm fine over here.
Polly, I can hardly hear you from all the way over there.
You're exaggerating. This is fine. It won't do to be all clumped together with such a large table and cafeteria. We have to make use of all this space. Now
That
tell me,
really is
that
not
wound on your
necessary.
face. What happened?
Let's just say I had some trouble during the last case.
You only make use of a table this large if you're literally catering for like an entire
Well, there's
party.
no need to be the tough guy here. I want you to be able to relax here. I've prepared a special room for you. A famous rock star once stayed in the same room, you know.
Really? I feel honored.
Zach, the lady is offering to help. Do you want to ask her about the town?
Yeah, sure, why not? We're just gonna milk this
What
like
can you tell
cutscene
me
for
about
all
this
it's worth.
town?
I mean, I'd hope I know. I literally had to come here. Population of over 6,000, of whom we only see less than 100.
This
Less than
hotel was
100,
built back
yeah.
then. We saw plenty of guests in those days.
That's why this place is so big for such a small community.
I have so many fond memories from back then. I suppose the clock on the community center is quite famous too.
Clock?
Oh yes, it's lovely. It rings in the morning.
The freaking Agent Honor just hanging in the background behind York is like taunting you.
It's a beautiful sound. And you'll love it too, I think.
I look forward to hearing it then.
Anything else you'd like to know about?
Yes,
actually.
more. Give us all the locations.
Could you tell me about the shops around here?
Shops? Well, there aren't many. It is a small town, after all. You can do most of your shopping at the Milk Barn convenience store. The couple who run it are a unique pair. I'm sure you'll get to like them. The A&T
Oh, I bet.
is a great place to eat. They might be open even if my kitchen is closed. If you want to go to a bar, there are two. The Galaxy of Terror and the Sweary 65. I don't care much for either of them. Bars are for the younger folk. We also have a gas stand, of course, the art gallery, and even a gunsmith. You should be able to find what you need.
Thank you, Polly.
Yeah, indeed we will. Though granted, some of those locations
Well,
really
Mr.
will not
Morgan,
be
I'm
presenting
going to
themselves
step
until
in.
near the end of the
You just
episode.
take it easy. I'll bring your coffee out in a moment.
Thank you, Polly.
At least the milk barn, the bars, and the gas stand are like fully accessible at this point.
Very best you have, please.
I understand. I'll be right back with it.
That's right. Give us a damn fine cup of coffee. Yeah, conveniently hiding. Oh wait, never mind. Yeah, they. That is so weird. Like his arm is hiding like the milk being poured into the coffee, which makes you think that that's to get around the fact that they don't want to animate it, but they still did.
Did you see that, Zach?
Up,
Clear as a
the famous
crystal
moment.
morning. F.K.
FK.
in the coffee. I knew I could count on it. Never fails.
Now then, let's get going.
The worst smile. York's entire face model is not built for the concept of a wide-eyed grin. The best he can manage when it comes to any sort of like smiling face is a smirk. That's it. Alright, we got our coffee. Let's get out of here. Later. yeah, first day of investigation. We literally woke up in our fucking, like, hotel room and got our coffee, and then we left. It's like, for the amount of stuff we got done, you would think that this was a chapter of Flower, Sun, and Rain. Man, that's a game that I'm just itching to replay again, but I really do want to wait for when Suda is able to put out, like, an HD version of that. He's at least said that they're, like, it's a high priority. It's just that the one thing that's missing for them is, like, finding the right distributor for it. And I hope that's figured out soon.
A police car.
Now that they've finished the No More Heroes saga as it currently is, they've clearly got, like, a lot of big ideas to focus on.
So we have King George to thank for preparing a car for me. A pleasant surprise, eh, Zach? Let's take it for a spin. I have to tell you, Zach, this place simply amazes me. The keys were left on the front hood, and nobody stole the car. Values. This town has what the country needs. Values.
Let's head over to the sheriff's department.
Yes, York. It's a very unrealistic concept. Okay. We got our car. We got a flare just in case. Now to, like, drive this crummy old brick to our first destination. One thing that I will say was, like, good for me to, like, kind of get used to, like, during, like, the practice run of this before driving the cars. Just get used to tapping the emergency brake in order to do those slides, because they are way more reliable for doing sharp turns at, like, a decent speed than trying to brake and then turn the car into an intersection. Like so.
So, Zach, about those bonus features in DVDs nowadays.
You know, the ones from the 80s have almost no bonus material. Even if they do, it's a trailer and the visual quality is pretty bad. Well, that visual quality is a good reminder of those days. So many new audio and visual appliances were coming out back then. Do you remember the first video deck we bought? We bought it to record one of the Star Wars movies on TV.
These conversations really are the best.
When the video store opened, we spent hours there, just trying to find a good movie to rent. There weren't that many to choose from back then. I remember renting some really...
Oh wait, that was the end. Oh shit.
Hey, remember? Attack of the Killer Tomatoes? Filmed in 1978. Produced, directed, written, and edited by John DeBello. It was really awful, but for some reason I still remember it pretty well. It had so many sequels, and the original was re-released in 95. The 87-minute long theatrical release bumped up to a whopping 90 minutes. But that was around the time I joined the Bureau. I never have a chance to see it.
I know, Zach. Once this case is over, we can watch it together.
I bet we can buy a copy on the internet pretty easily.
Indeed you can. Even easier, you could just, like, download it from a site for free and just, like, have it even more convenient. It's an old enough movie, like, most people wouldn't care. Ah. We're almost there to the store. Yep. Over there's the gas station. Kind of up ahead and to the right, there's like the gun the gunsmith place, the Panda Bear, but that's not open yet. Straight ahead, though, is the milk barn itself. Also, I have no idea of, like, if this game, like, has, like, an install the hard drive option, but it's something where, like, I know I wouldn't really be able to make use of it anyway because I don't have one for this 360. But if it did, I would hope that maybe it would possibly, like, do something about, like, the
Zach, is there something
brief
here that you wanna
hitches
check out?
every
We're
time, like,
supposed to go
it's
through
streaming in a
Anna
part of the
Graham's
game
file at
world.
The sheriff's office, but if you want to act on a hunch, then I'm with you.
Okay. Okay. There we go. A third trading card. Now to talk to Lily in order to get this
FBI Special Agent
first
Francis
side
York
quest.
Morgan. And you are?
Lily Ingram. My husband owns a convenience store, and we have 2 sons.
Oh, man.
I like to think that I'm just a regular wife in a regular family. Aside from the point that our sons were the first witnesses to the crime scene.
You seem pretty calm considering their involvement in such a big murder case.
Or that your
You think
husband
so?
is, like, constantly
I'm glad to hear
dressed like
that.
he's a rocker from the
Anyway, if I looked all bleak and
1970s.
gloomy, I think it would hurt our business. Agent Morgan, about that scar.
York,
Please
please.
don't call me that. Call
Thank
me
you.
York if you can. People have been calling me York for a long time.
You're a silly one.
No, not at all. I'm just a regular special agent. So what were you about to say, Lily? About my scar?
I'm sorry. I seem to have forgotten. It's because you said something silly.
I see.
Her lip sync.
Well, if you remember anything important,
Like
Just let me know.
her
I
lip
will.
animations for
I'll
her
probably be
face are
making use
just
of your
so
storage room when we stay
disturbing.
here. So I'll see you from time to time.
Okay, I'll see you soon then.
It is amazing how like the modeling work on like all the female characters in this game are so
Hi there.
disconcerting, except for Emily. Like not even for Anna, the character that like is basically like the crux of like this game's murder mystery, considering she's the victim. Oh yeah, interesting thing I didn't realize until like picking this up and like playing myself is that during these like non-voiced, well technically some of these can be voiced, but these like non-full cutscene moments of dialogue, you can actually rotate the camera with the right analog stick. It's kind of neat. Nothing to buy, but definitely talk.
You always
I
look
know
like
you
a
got
busybody.
some that needs to be sorted in
Job
your
working you that
storeroom.
hard?
It's not so bad, hon. I've gotten used to it now, really. You seem to be taking it easy.
Sometimes it's important to take a laid-back approach. Pressing forward too quickly can be a recipe for disaster.
You're being silly. Oh, yeah. Hon, if you have time on your hands, can I ask you a favor?
Such as?
Nothing major. It's just our storage room is a total mess. Keith just makes it worse every time he tries to clean it up. And I can't move the heavy boxes in there. I used to ask my father to help us out, but, well, he's not that young anymore. Of course, I'll give you something in return. If you tidy the place up, I'll give you this.
What's that?
A bronze card. It's a discount card for the milk barn. You'll be able to buy things cheaper with this. I think
Imagine
it'll
if
help
it
you
was
lower your
that
investigation
easy
expenses.
So you're saying I'm
like,
helping you out?
to work your way into like a store's discount program if all you had to do was just
I
like
don't mind if you want to help her.
like help the person out.
Thank you, hun. The storage room is this way.
Especially if like by their implication is like these cards aren't even anything that could be like easily like acquired by any of the shoppers to begin with. Like, I would not be surprised if this is the sort of thing where the bronze cards are really only handed out to people that have been proven to be shopping with the store long enough. There we go. First one down. And then just all the way to the left. It's real nice and chill, just like playing through like the opening chapters of this game again. Especially since I've already done like the practice run-throughs of like doing all the side stuff that is like available as soon as possible. Wait, hold on. Was this even the right? Oh shoot. Wait, no, I was right. Yeah, okay. I thought I was looking at like I think one step ahead too far before realizing no, I was right all along. Yeah, this is how you're supposed to fit these all in.
Thank you, hun. You've been a big help. You're a real hero.
A hero?
You just can't leave those who need help alone, can you? I can tell you know, hun. You're that kind of guy. Anyway, here's your reward, hun. You've earned it.
Yeah, thanks.
We'll give you a discount from your next purchase.
Thank you, Lily. We'd better be careful not to get carried away and overspend, Zach.
Agent York, you're a good person. My father doesn't seem to appreciate you yet, but I do.
And I'm sure Keith and the boys feel the same. Come by anytime, okay?
There we go. We'll be back here soon, but only on like chapter replays.
So, you're the talk of the town.
The idea that a dude that like
FBI special agent
dresses and
Francis
presents
Morgan.
himself like this is the owner of a
Please
convenience
call me
store is
Whatever
still
the
one of the
boss calls me.
funniest things
Thanks,
to
Keith.
me.
A pleasure meeting you, York. Sure is a big scar. It's bigger than I thought it would be.
So, Keith, I have a couple of questions about the incident.
Huh? Sure, fire away, man.
Did you know Anna Graham?
Yeah, of course, man. Poor little Anna. She was such a nice girl. I mean, what kind of sicko would do that to her?
Well, I'm here to catch that sicko. Listen, even the smallest piece of information might be useful to me. If there's anything you noticed or want to let me know, contact me.
Okay, will do, bro. You got my cooperation, FBI.
Another thing, I'll be frequenting your store during my stay here, so I'll see you around.
He's definitely enthusiastic
Sure thing,
to be
bro.
on the right
We
side
got
of the
what you
law.
need, so drop in anytime. Hey, bro.
Yeah. Before I leave though, I need to buy a fishing rod and some bait. So like let's just get this over with and I can be on my way. The most insane sort of structure for a convenience store and how to buy things. Okay, but let's get this rod. And then we'll buy at least like 2 packages of bait, so like 12 individual worms. There we go. And we're off to pick up more trading cards. Man, just like doing all this mundane stuff is so zen that like it's really like keeping me from weirdly enough from actually like figuring out like any interesting things to say while I do all this running around and like doing errands and finding like collectible cards. Kind of nuts. So I'm having fun with it overall. That's obviously what's important. It's what the iconic soundtrack is for. True that. That as well as York's car conversations about like various like 80s B movies and things like that. Okay. Let's head over to the junkyard. And there we go. Indeed he is. Yeah. More than aware. Okay, so now we're at the junkyard. We just gotta get the 2 trading cards that are at the opposite ends. Still, with like all the stuff that we're doing here, it's like ideally by the time that we're ready to actually go to the police station to progress the plot, we will have gotten our first infinite durability weapon, which will be well, it will be very nice, but admittedly because of the chapter replays I'm going to be doing in order to keep going through some of the specific side quests as soon as possible, I'm also going to be getting a better infinite durability weapon out of it. There it is, right through here. Oh yeah, that's the dead end. Just gotta go this way. Old junkyard's a maze. And card number 2. The General. That General obviously is missing some quotes, quotation marks. Okay, so we got that, and also, like, the nice benefit of, like, going to all these locations early from, like, what I discovered is that even before you get the radio from George, which allows for fast travel, as long as the game has recognized that you visited any of, like, these important locations, that list will already be filled out. So once it comes time, we're gonna have, like, pretty much almost every single main location on the radio like filled out by the time we move on to like chapter 4. Yeah, because this is chapter 3 currently. And yeah, just tracing my steps just to make sure. Yes. Yeah, just keep going south and to the east to get to the Force Keeper's cabin. That's it, with like all the time that's going to be spent doing all this. I'm actually curious if I'll be able to like even get like this first chapter playthrough all done like within 3 hours, because I was admittedly like taking a lot more time during a practice run of this just because, you know, I had not played any version of this game in a long time and was wanting to get reacclimated with it.
Speaking of 80s movies, Bonjour and the
But yeah, I imagine doing all the stuff I have to do
Do you remember that one, Zach?
before heading to the police station and continuing the story should be all doable within this session.
It's filmed pretty cheap, but still
Hopefully.
looks pretty good.
If not, then at least we'll still be able to save, because, like,
I loved it.
the disadvantage of doing chapter replays is that the game does not let you, like, make manual saves at, like, the phone booths.
The rental store didn't have it for some reason.
Like, you're expected to
They said
do
the
those
staff of the
replays,
sequel was
like, all
totally
in one
different from the
sitting.
original. Wonder how the sequel turned out. You know, the monster in that one responded to sound.
Wait, Zach. Sounds a lot like the movie Tremors.
Sounds like graboids.
It was back in '89, directed by Ron Underwood. Now, that was a great role for Kevin Bacon. Masterpiece.
Zach, that one had sequels like crazy. I remember there was a fourth one. I've only seen the first one, though.
All this, though, does serve to remind me about Super Great Friends LP of the game from back in the day, which was really, really good. And it really upsets me, though, that, like, if you want to watch it these days, like, fortunately it is on his YouTube channel, but only large portions of it, because of how, the parts of the videos where he covers some of the B movies that York talks about, including actual footage of it, is like, he had to, like, remove them from YouTube just because of copyright claims on that. And obviously the alternative being blip.tv no longer exists, so kind of left with, like, an incomplete playlist to kind of go back through if you want to, which is a shame because he was really, really damn thorough going through that, you know? Which makes sense, you know? It's Super Great Friend. Like when he's focused on, like, doing, like, a proper, like, edited, like, LP, his stuff really shines. Dude cares a lot about the quality and makes sure that it stands out. Super Great Friend. A name that has no affiliation whatsoever with Super Best Friends, which you know, you see both of those and it definitely seems like almost easy to mix up. Wonder how much the LP archive will end up being useful as time goes on. That is a good question. It does feel a bit hard to kind of say for sure, because it's like some of those LPs from back then are definitely still worth going through even now. But knowing that, like, when LPs started, like, on the subforum, it's like that was obviously back during the era where, like, the sort of language and humor that was common among people on the internet, not really fun to go back to these days. It wasn't even really fun to go back to by the time it was like 2013 or so. I mean, at the very least, like, for some of the LPs on there where their old video hosts are down, at least, like, they have, like, the Internet Archive banner to let you know that, like, hey, at least they're preserved that way. That part's at least good, but yeah, it is curious just to kind of think about, like, how long like that'll last and be useful over time. Because as much as like the digital space should be able to preserve these sort of things for a lot longer than things that are, like, purely confined to the digital realm, it's really it's clear that, like, some of these sites will inevitably end up, like, fading away and lose, like, some of that material. Okay. Time to head down to the fishing pier. Because this game, like, outside of the one moment in the story where it makes it mandatory to do fishing for a piece of, like, evidence, like, this is another way they get you to engage with this fishing mini game because the trading cards, like there are 7 of them that are locked by this mini game. Okay, so trying to remember now, like which pier is it that I need to use? All right, yeah, centermost one. We got this. Another thing that I'm glad to have done like a practice run of this game before streaming, because I am also very much tuned once again to like how this game's fishing works. And got it. You caught a gym green. That text is the best. That's one of those things where like you see it and you immediately just want to like screen capture it and then just like use it for weird funny out of context stuff. Consider Deadly Premonition to be outsider art. Kind of awesome because of how janky and insane it is. True. I very much felt the same thing. This was like the earliest example I think I had seen of like a game where like I described it as so good and amazing because of how blatantly janky it is. Like it is so lacking in every like form of polish that people expected out of games around this time, and yet it pulls through with its own stuff that is like worth paying attention to. The music's good, the characters are delightfully weird, the story is a legitimately good murder mystery with like some bizarre supernatural like trappings around it. But now we gotta head back into town and head east to over to the gas station.
Tremors. I think Fred Ward was in it. You say
Indeed he
Fred
was.
Ward, and I say Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins. That one was back in '85, I think. Directed by Guy Hamilton. Guess Hamilton was aiming to start a series like 007. But it had no sequels. A real shame. Do you remember the martial arts they used in that film? Called Senanju? The ultimate in martial arts, using no weapons at all. Remo's master Chun ran across water, remember? And he loved soap operas. Man, that was a good character. He was played by Joel Grey, the best supporting actor in Cabaret.
It is so...
Of course, in Remo, he had so much makeup.
It is so tough to actually make this brick turn at all when you're going down like this winding hill. Like your car's like it makes your car feel like it is being magnetically pulled away from the road and into like the terrain on the side. Oh well. We're going to the gas station anyway, so it's like we'll be able to like make up for like the damage done to the car as well as any gas that we've used. Not going down that tunnel just yet. Not for a while. We won't really be able to, like... Yeah, I don't think at this point we can even, like, get the spiritual map A. Can't get that on... Can't get that infinite submachine gun. A lot of fun bonus items that this game has in general. And obviously it's, like, designed to make the combat a joke. But frankly, that's kind of what you want with how... you know, rough feeling it is. Oh yeah, I have the siren. I could give myself a little bit of a boost. Even if this is a very irresponsible use of, like, a police car.
Now, Joel Gray's daughter is, of course. That's right, Jennifer Gray. You know her, right, Zach?
Jennifer Gray. She's in one of my most favorite movies, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, 1986, directed by John Hughes. That one was so 80s.
True, but I feel like the era in question is more appropriate for, like, early 2000s as opposed to 2010.
Teenage movies back then, didn't we?
Then also just the fact that, like, this game was clearly post RE4, which still showed that you could have, like, a tense experience even with tank controls, and then, like, it felt still good to do stuff in. But whatever, I get it. It's like Swery has said as much as far as if I recall. Like, he didn't even want this game to have combat, but it became like a publisher mandate from, like, Ignition or Marvelous, whichever one.
How could that not be a great film?
You remember, Zach?
When that movie ended, the last words, the end, was from an arcade game. That's right, it was from Missile Command. It stuck in my head for a while. The memories. I feel like I have a lot of movies to catch up on. Let's just hope we can get to the end of this case soon. Then maybe we can catch up on a few.
Give some thought about what movie you want to see next, Zach.
All right.
Zach, is there something here that you want to check out?
Yes, I need a trading card.
Graham's file at the sheriff's office.
Thank you. Gina Sponge. Totally not a euphemism. In all honesty, though, I would not be surprised that the developers did not think it was a euphemism, but I definitely feel like that you could construe a lot of, like, some real dirty meaning behind the phrase Gina Sponge. Game's clearly a bit of a love letter to 2000s horror and 90s television. Being backwards is kind of the point. Certainly.
Oh.
But I also kind of,
I've never
I don't
seen
know.
you here before.
It's still the sort of
You
thing
in
when,
town
like,
to
I
see
see
some
that the
sights?
director's cut, like, makes the core combat super easy. Like, I don't blame them, because by that point they understood from the reception, like,
Gina.
what people really liked
Folks
about
call
it.
me the Rose.
That they
I'm
were
Francis
like,
York
yeah, you know what,
Morgan,
let's
FBI
let's
special
make
agent.
the playing parts, you
I'm
know,
investigating
it's still
the
gonna
death
be
of Brian
jank,
Graham.
but let's at least make it,
FBI.
like, the least
Wow,
frustrating
how
aspect
cool.
about it, you know?
And ooh, I like that scar.
Granted, I'm
have
I'm
any
used to
info on
doing
Anna
it
or
like
any
this way
suspicious
anyway, because
individuals?
I'm willing to go
I
to
hate
whatever
complex
like
stuff.
steps necessary
Let's
to
have a more simple
to
conversation.
play and show
Simple.
off a game in its original form.
Do you want gas or not? Uh-huh.
Oh, Gina. Me and other people play difficult games for me is why I come to Twitch and LP's Natch. True. That is an absolutely viable reason. Though for me, I'm generally into that, if only like for the context of people playing difficult games that might give them a hard time, if only they have the capacity to like overcome it and improve with it, you know? Like, I don't think I would necessarily find as much fun watching someone try to play like Ninja Gaiden Black or Ninja Gaiden 2, for instance, unless they were like compelled by what they were being presented with to like get genuinely good with it. And then of course there's sometimes where it's like playing games that are just like straight up bad and like torturous is its own kind of fun. I generally would not be the kind of person that would want to debase myself to that level on a regular basis. But, you know, that wouldn't be out of the question for certain games later down the line. At least if I knew for sure that I could get through it just to prove a point. Okay, Gina, I appreciate you wanting to put it in and pull it out, but I really need to see your husband right now. This is getting kind of annoying. Oh, speaking of devil, as I was just about to complain, he actually comes out.
You from out of town?
It's like
I ain't seen
fucking
you
Paul
here
Phoenix from
before.
Tekken, like took a bad turn in life. The RNG giveth and the RNG taketh away.
Special agent.
It sure does.
I'm
It is
investigating
a very
thing
cruel
going on. Do you
mistress.
have any info on Anna or any suspicious individuals?
I ain't got nothing to tell the cops.
What about the FBI?
Shut up.
At least give me your name.
I'm Jack. They call me Raging Bull.
That's a manly nickname.
Shut it. If you're a customer, act like one and shut the mouth. Huh?
Yeah. You know, it's funny, like, how this whole gas station service works here, that it's at a point where it feels very Oregon-like, even though I'm pretty sure Greenvale is explicitly supposed to be set in Washington. I don't know. But then again, this is a small-town community. I guess they just do things their own way. It's just Oregon that is real crazy with the idea. No, gas stations have to have attendants that put the nozzle into your car to fill gas. Fuck the idea of self-serve. What are you, crazy?
Jack, here's the Ben Franklin you wanted.
Give it to me.
There we go. The first bribe out of 4.
Hey there, Benjamin. I wanted to talk to you. Have you heard this yet? I'll tell you another one when I see you again.
Very nice. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Take my money, you asshole.
Did you see that? It was as if we weren't here.
I wonder what that was all about. Did it make sense to you?
There, now we can leave. Alright, eastward. Let's see. Next trading card that we need to get. I'll just pull up the map just to double check and make sure the distance. Oh yeah, it's right at the next turn. Yeah, just blow up all those barrels, no problem. Oh wait, that's not even... Hold on a second. Oh right, there was that field as well, yeah. Those barrels were reaching for a gun. It was self-defense, I swear. Oh, no, I didn't want to press the guide button. Okay. Yeah, remembering like these next two cars, I was getting them out of order. That one is obviously important, but the other is like the one that's in this field to the south. Okay. There we go. There's Jack's trading card. Now, I also recall there is Keith's house. Yep, that's right there. We're just gonna peep in through their window just to add it to the radio list for when we get the radio. Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those nights where, like, the tip of my nose is feeling a bit itchy. It's, like, kind of distracting me. I'm gonna have to deal with that. Oop. Sorry, dude. FBI rolling through. Okay. Just look through one of these windows. Whole lot of trading card collecting throughout, like, the this first run of Chapter 3. Or 2, rather, I guess. I don't know. But I forget if, like, the prologue specifically refers to it as Chapter 0 or Chapter 1. Either way, this is the 3rd chapter total. But just a lot of collecting cards. Now we just gotta go south to another pier where we can do some fishing. Which is how far away? Oh yeah, just off to the left there. What time are we at already? Oh, we're just only about, like, hour and a half into this already? Yeah, not bad. Again, I'm very hopeful that, like, this first run through of this chapter will be most, if not all of it, done by the end of this session.
Zach,
Regardless, once Wednesday comes around, I'll have a whole lot more time to work with, just because I'm moving my schedule for that day up to be, like, around the early morning to through the afternoons, as opposed to evenings on my end. Basically using the same time frame I always kind of default to when I have, like, Kaboom on here for, like, co-commentary. I figured that, like, even with it being a solo stream, I might as well try that, schedule change, if only to see how better or worse, like, my already small viewer count is that way. Oh, crap. Was one square too late. But that's okay, I got 11 more worms to work with. But yeah. But yeah, at the very least, I feel hopeful that, like moving that up before I start streaming more in the morning will probably help with getting the people I know that are, like, in Europe to actually, like, catch it for once. Because I got a good few people I know that are, you know, like, in that part of the world. They're not on the they're not on my side of the Atlantic, as it were. Okay, so we got Isaac's card. Yeah, now I believe next location is Galaxy of Terror. Yeah, so up here, take a right, left, left, right. You know, it's funny, like, from the brief times I remember playing this game, as well as seeing other people's frustrations with it, having to deal with the map and the fact that it constantly rotates itself, even when you're looking at the full map in, like, the pause menu. Like, it's frustrating at first, but then you kind of realize that, like, you can make it significantly easier for yourself if you just pay attention to the compass indicator, and then turn it so that York is always facing north before you check the full map. and that helps a lot with like cross-referencing with actual like map images of the game.
About what movie I'd like to watch next.
That definitely was a lifesaver
It's always hard
when
to
getting
narrow it
myself
down just to one
reacclimated
movie,
with like
but I've put a lot of
with the
thought
whole
into
layout of this
I'm
place.
sure you'll agree with me. 1975.
And here he
Directed by
goes,
Steven
talking about
Spielberg
Jaws
himself,
itself.
the grandfather of panic movies, set in a small town in Massachusetts. That movie made me stay away from the beach for years. I was always afraid that a hand might come floating up. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yep. It's Jaws. The underwater camera work accompanied by that John Williams music. I've never been that scared of a movie before. But the best thing about it is that it isn't just another panic movie. The mayor who won't close the beach even when there are so many victims. Chief Brody putting the citizens' lives.
Oh hey, look at that. The
film
like
gave
the rear and side view mirrors actually do like
certainly had a
produce
lot of
like
messages for a
an image
12
that
film.
does move based on where you're
That's probably
looking.
another reason
It's
why
just
I'm
not a
so
reflection.
One of my regrets in life is that I didn't
You know,
see
like
it.
in lieu of the fact that they probably
Because I was
wanted to
supposed
have it be an actual reflection but couldn't for like
I wanted to
for
taste that
technical reasons, that's at least like a decent like substitute for that.
reminds me, Zach. Did
You know?
this one?
It's convincing
Jaws
enough,
also
I
appears in another movie
or
that
as
takes place
convincing as you can get with something that's
second Back
like
to the Future.
a very
Directed
PS2
by
like
Robert
B
Zemeckis,
horror
who
movie
later made films
horror game.
That's also a masterpiece, of course, but we'll discuss that another time. So, the scene where Jaws appears is right after Marty McFly goes 30 years into the future. He passes by a movie theater and is attacked by a holographic shark. Marty is shocked, of course, but looking closer, he sees the words Jaws Part 19. The director is credited as Steven Spielberg Jr. In reality, there
It's
were
a
actually
good
only
gag.
4 Jaws movies. It was still a great joke. 30 years from 1985 would be 2015. We'll be there pretty soon.
I wonder what
For
life would
us
be like
though,
by then.
we're already past that. And depending on our situation at the time, we may or may not wish it was that. I don't know. The biggest things I remember from 2015 was playing Bloodborne, enjoying the hell out of it, and then having to drop out of one of the colleges that I was attending at the time because like summer that year was absolutely like killing me and contributing a lot to just my inability to keep up with like the workload that they were like trying to push forward. Some fun games that year, but like everything else, not especially the best in my time in my life. Though I think I'll still give that to 2016. Like barring the obvious bad event of that entire year being the whole like U.S. election, but just the fact that like I've had like some pretty bad like personal injuries during the first half of that year was not especially fun. Even if we ended up with a different president back then, I would have still called 2016 a shit year just from my own personal experience alone. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. MGS5 was 2015. Yeah. I so constantly forget that was a thing, but then again, I guess so many people forget if there was anything noteworthy about fucking Metal Gear Solid 5 because of how much was missing. Alright, now I need to find where is the... There's supposed to be like a... Looking for Book Mountain Bank, it's called. Maybe it's a bit more north up here, or is that... No. Okay, that's Brian's house. That's Anna's. Nick's. Oh, the missing link. Never be game over. Okay, I'm definitely overlooking something, I feel like. Oh, wait, no, there it is. Yeah, it's just when it's zoomed out, like, the phone and card icon are, like, completely covering up that entire building. Okay, so yeah, go straight, right, left, right. Ugh. Yeah, there were some good games in 2015, all things considered. Okay. There we go. Now we can get out. I'm just ramming into all manner of things as I go around town trying to pick up all these cards as quickly as I can. And then... yeah, just head south to the A&G Diner. Now which we gotta go inside for 2 more cards. Funny thing about these cards that I had completely forgotten was like a thing about them. But like when you get the cards in your collection, they actually have like a brief description of like the person or object that's in them. And some of those descriptions imply that they really did expect people to only pick up these cards once they were like halfway through the game at the minimum, because they refer to events for certain characters that don't actually happen until that point. Like, I think if anyone recalls, it's like, I think it's for like Becky and Diane specifically, where I think it refers to events that happen with them that do not occur this early on. It's kind of hilarious. Like way to spoil your own game in a way that is like that like no one would be bothered by because they're not going out of their way to look for it. But even if there weren't the descriptions, it's still good to like pick up all these cards anyway, because every one you get adds like a $200 to your account, which is good because we're gonna need as much money as we can get from like this first run to have a smooth time just like getting any purchases we need. All right, so that's the first one. Alrighty. And an Agent Honor. Thank you. I'm gonna make a save right here just to be safe. Which might seem weird to say because we are not in a place where there could be enemies, but you know, this game has not 100% strong stability. Things could go wrong on that front. Alright, now to go all the way east, over to the apartments. And there's the car. Get in. Drive on out of here. Deal with like this awful, awful handling. Which even when you get some of the car upgrades from doing the general's side quests, it's kind of amazing how little it actually affects like the variety of the cars themselves. Like, regardless of it giving you like better handling and better top speed across the board, it doesn't change the fact that the default police car you drive around sucks so bad. Okay, but we need to get over here right now.
Zach, is there something here?
At least it's kind of fun to just like slam on the e-brakes and then just like do like a 270 turn or whatever it is just to go into the all cop cars are bastards. Yeah. Yeah, everything everything that's cop and cop adjacent, all bastards. Except RoboCop. I'm going to say he's the one exception that's what most deserved. Come on, get down the stairs. Thank you. Alright, and then I believe it's in a field just north. Yes, it is. Also, police dogs were good boys before they were brainwashed, except for the class traitors and the Paw Patrol. Yes, I fully accept this as canon. It makes too much good sense. Alright, now we got Gina's card. I'm just laughing over like the description of like of just calling like the ones in Paw Patrol like class traitors. Alright, now we just need to go west. Or... Oh wait, yeah. Before going west, we need to like head north onto the road leading towards Greenvale Hospital. Though as far as I recall right now, there's like no card outside of the hospital we need to get. We just gotta put the... We just need to go there in order to like get it registered on the radio list so that it's ready for when we actually have the radio. All right. Alright, now we're just gonna head inside just long enough and then immediately leave. Yep, that's the hospital. We can go now. Next on the list of locations to go to is a rest stop along Muffler Road. Because we got another place where we gotta do some fishing. Oh yeah, there's technically a card around here, but that's one we can't actually access until we do the race mini challenge. We gotta run through the checkpoints. Let's go. Got a little bit of air. Just over that little jump. Okay. FBI agent coming through. Here we go. This should be the one. The bloom's pretty intense here, all things considered, but I do like how this pier looks, not just because of it being, like, near this lake, but also just that you can see, like, those dead trees sticking out. There's a lot of things about, like, the general environment design of Greenvale that is really good. Like, it's one of those things where, like, it's a Japanese creator's, like, interpretation of, like, a specific type of town in, like, in the Western Hemisphere. And while it has, like, the obvious, like, weird, like, Japanese touches to it, it is still more accurate to the vibe of those type of towns than you would think. It definitely does look glowy, for sure. And if you're wondering if that's only because of how it looks on the stream, don't worry, it is also shining very brightly on my CRT. That's just kind of how the bloom ends up looking. But yeah, it's like the design of Greenvale itself and just how it feels like the kind of town it's supposed to be is the sort of thing where I feel like it really puts it on the same level as something like Santa Destroy and No More Heroes, you know? Like Suda really somehow managed to land on the vibe of shitty middle-of-nowhere Southern California town. Because that is precisely what Santa Destroy is. At least during the first game. You know? Like, second game, there was already the signs of, like, urban redevelopment because Pizza Butt. And then No More Heroes 3 obviously, like, exacerbates it even further with Utopia, Damon's entire company, just redeveloping the entire town and, like, the neighboring suburbs into, like, a glorified amusement park. Okay, so we got that card. Now, next spot I need to go on to is this dirt road, in which we have a bone. God, I love just, like, driving through, like, these, like, narrow wood paths, if only because they they very specifically go out of their way to layer the path with agent honors. Apparently there's a bit of Japanese fetish for Portland. No idea how that happened. It is, yeah. Like, Portland, if not, or like, I guess in a more general sense, definitely like the northwestern part of like the lower 48s, you know? Because yeah, there's definitely a bit of Oregon, but there's also quite a bit of Washington State in here, you know? Which, having lived there for several years, it is definitely like on the better side of states in this godforsaken country, I'll say at least.
Zach, is there something here that you want to check out?
We're supposed to go through Anna Graham's file at the sheriff's office, but...
No More Heroes is a documentary. Oh, yeah.
A human bone? This doesn't...
It's one hell of a documentary, especially if you're taking into account all of the games that took place after it. That, yeah, this is all taking place in that same shitty Southern California town. It really is amazing just how accurate the design and feel of that place is. It's like, weirdly enough, like a big reason for like why I was never really on the side of people that were like the open world is bad. Because it's like, the whole point of it was that it was supposed to accurately feel like that kind of town. Like, incredibly mundane, boring, and shitty. You know? They nailed it. With it being obviously juxtaposed by Travis's entire character and the points of interest that are clearly, like, tailored to him. Okay, there's Anna's house. Okay. People want 100% escapism. True. And admittedly, there's, like, not really much, like, in the way that's, like, wrong with that on paper, you know? But that really only goes so far if the whole point is that you're trying to, like have something deeper to it, you know? Wait, what? Hold on. Wait, I think... Was this not the right house? What the hell? Oh, wait, I guess because it's open now, it's like... Richard Dunn was in there at the moment. Right, yeah. Okay, yeah, this is definitely kind of throwing me for a loop, if only because, like, I'm going through these objectives a lot faster than I did on my practice run. Making the mundane dull and into over-the-top action lunacy is part of Suda's shtick. Yeah, it definitely is that in the context of No More Heroes specifically. In the case of his other games, he definitely, like, takes the mundanity and, like, puts it to great use in other ways, you know, like Flower, Sun, and Rain. That is obviously, like, a very good example of that. Like, that game is just walking. It is walking and solving number puzzles. But it's alright because, like, it does very clever things with how it guides you to doing those basic things, even going so far as to mock you and the game that you're playing.
Anna, where are you going?
It is so good.
Me.
Okay.
You there. Do you know where Anna is? Anna. My dear Anna.
Yeah.
Zach, let's do this later.
Currently in the morgue.
I don't think we'll get anything out of her like this.
I'd like to ask you some questions about Anna.
Anna. Oh, why did she have to die? She was so happy, so full of life. Anna, she loved that dress in the picture so much. She looked so pretty in it, but now she won't be able to wear it again. Yes, that dress. I can't find that dress anywhere.
That dress?
Her dress. Where is it? Without it, She looked so pretty when she wore it for prom. She was the prettiest girl in town that night. So why did she? Where's that
I've seen this
dress?
game plenty of times,
Where?
and the characters. Trust me, the only girl I could say is the prettiest is Emily.
More out of her like this. Maybe if we find the dress and bring it to her, she'll calm down enough to talk.
But whatever, I get it. Her daughter was brutally murdered. Like, it's obviously making a whole lot of sense that she is grieving pretty heavily over this. It's just, again, so hilarious. Every time they show Anna, like her character model, her face, it's like, it's just so specifically off.
Look, Zach. It's a picture taken during her
If
prom.
that dress was an
There are
obscure
no
metaphor for
pictures of
stolen
Anna
youth
in
or
the
purity,
dress.
that would totally be a Twin
This blue
Peaks
dress
scene.
here, then.
It would.
Must be the
Fortunately,
one
it's
Sally's
not,
looking
because according to Swery, he has never seen Twin Peaks ever. Not on his life. Not at all. No, sir.
That smile would make any man turn to bone.
I can't say that with a straight face. We all know he fucking watched it. We all know he watched it. He's just not saying that he did because he doesn't want to admit to something that could get him sued for it. Especially when it's like, I feel like if you were to, it's important to realize that there were like some like major design changes this game actually ended up going through when
Let's take it to Sally.
even before this game got called Deadly Premonition, back when it was called Rainy Woods, you know? And, like, York had, like, a different design and everything. And it's like, I really am wondering if, like, to some degree, like, the changes they ended up doing in this getting pushed to 360 instead of PS2, like, it originally was, like, I do wonder if that had to have been because they realized they were starting to get a bit too close to just being Twin Peaks. Like, that's the only way I could really, like, see, like, any sort of justification for, like,
This is it.
seeing how the game
The dress.
transitioned from some
This
of
is
its
Anna's
original
dress.
design elements to this, to the thing we got.
Oh, Anna.
It's the good life
Anna.
town.
Sally, we found the dress. So please tell me more about Anna.
Oh man. I mean, just thinking about that, it's like,
She was
you
such
just
a good
reminded
girl.
me that the
She
good
was the
life
most
is a
beautiful
thing that,
girl
like,
in town.
exists, or, like, is
With
coming
pretty
out.
blonde
I
hair.
forget, what is the status
Everyone
on
around
that
her just
game?
loved her.
I just remember
Community
hearing the
murder.
concept, and I was like,
Anna
that
and
sounds
Holmes.
sweary as
Yes,
hell, and I
think
am
so.
absolutely
You think
down
so?
for it.
That day.
Also,
day
I
she
like
died,
this this
I stayed
title.
over at a friend's
Flowers,
house.
Sun, and Rainy Woods.
only
No
I'd
more
been
Killer
here,
7 of the
Anna
Damned.
might not have gone through.
Where did you
Honestly,
sleep that night?
You made that combination of titles work way better than
So,
I
in
thought
other
it would
words, you
just
have
from
no
looking at
idea
it.
what
Reading it
Anna
out
was
loud,
up to
I think
that
kind of sold
That's
it.
wrong.
Good on
She
you,
wasn't
Grunt.
the kind of girl that would walk around at night. She was always dancing under the sun. Yes, under the pouring sunshine, like this.
Out next month. Okay,
Zach, look.
cool.
A key. Fell from Anna's dress. Maybe we can use this to get into Anna's room.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I imagine
Sally,
it'll,
but
like,
we're going to have to take a look in there.
I have to imagine that the good life, like if and when I get to playing that, will hopefully, like, for me and everyone else, will not seem like the most hilariously, like, technical abomination that Deadly Premonition 2 is. Because, man, oh man, I remember when that Deadly Premonition 2 hit and people were just going absolutely crazy about, like, how bad, like, the performance for that thing was on Switch. To the point where it's like, yeah, that's bad, but at the same time, considering, like, the pedigree of this game being a weird, janky thing, like, that almost sounds like it should be par for the course. But then again, I feel like afterwards, I recall, like, not many people talking about it in the same way as this. But I imagine a lot of that was just because whatever direction they went with for the story probably did not stick with people as memorably as this does. Demo was sound, but that was years ago. Okay. Yeah. Definitely plenty of games that are, like, coming out soon, and some that I'm really
Excitement.
curious to see when they will finally drop. Because earlier today, I was looking through my emails and saw, like, after a while, I ended up getting there was, like, a new update from, like, the System Shock Remakes Kickstarter, which actually addressed something that, like,
You know,
I had
Zach,
almost forgotten had
this wonderful
passed, and
country of
that
ours,
their
no
original,
good
like,
old-fashioned
vague
towns left.
release date that they had said
None
that
at
the
all.
game was going to come out on, they had, like, missed it, you know? They said that they were going to have it out, like, by the end of summer, which would have been, like
Day
they were kind of listing it as, like, August
Today is the
31st.
day of the ceremony, and I'm a little
But
nervous
the,
about it. Day 2.
But then they kind of put out an update saying,
First time he
"Hey,
used it on
we
me,
know
it was
we
so
skipped,
amazing.
we weren't able to
So
like meet this
exhilarating.
like general
Day 3.
deadline. We've really been busy trying
doesn't
to
let
like
anything
put the
slip.
final polish on everything.
I'm
So
really
it's like
worried about
it's still
Becky.
close.
Day 4.
It's just yeah, like
Delivery
they're
man
just
Q
constantly having to
will be
like
able to protect
do however many
So that's the
passes they
last
need
page
to make
written.
sure the game is up to snuff before they put it out.
It's very interesting.
And whenever that is ready,
Learn
that's
a lot
also
from it,
probably
Larry.
when
So we
they will
have
be
this
ready to put
unnamed
out the
key,
enhanced edition of System Shock 2.
Becky, and this delivery man Q.
Oh well. At the very least,
Yeah,
I
this
guess
could
I'm
be
kind
more
of glad it
interesting than
didn't
I
come
thought.
out when they were initially estimating it would have been, because that honestly would have put it a bit way too close to where to when No More Heroes 3 released. And I was like, I can't justify putting down that much money for two games so close to each other. I mean, hell, like I know I'm going to be playing Metroid Dread, but that's only because it's coming out the same month as my birthday, and I've already like decided that like I'm just gonna have that be something that I'm treated to as like a birthday gift. Won't be playing it at launch, but I will be playing it like on the day that my birthday is, which fortunately is on a day that I have off from work. And I didn't even need to schedule for it like beforehand to have my birthday off. It just kind of worked out that way. But yeah, really looking forward to that. kind of similarly with No More Heroes 3, I'm definitely at a point now where it's like I'm not needing to pay as much attention to like the previews and trailers for that game because I feel like I'm more than convinced. Because yeah, it's like, yeah, Grunt, you bring a good point. Here's hoping it will make up for Other M. I absolutely think it will. I also think by extension it will make up for like Mercury Steam's past failings because they've been whipped into shape proper by Nintendo. You know? Because they put out that they made that Metroid 2 remake, which was pretty solid, you know. I know people back then, just because of AM2R coming out at the same time, it just led to people just kind of decrying that, like, oh, it's crap. This is the real Metroid 2 remake over here, and it's like, no, both are good, but for different reasons. You don't need to be like this butthurt and defensive about like your precious franchise, especially when it is very clear that Nintendo themselves have been trying to make amends in their specific ways. So I think Dread is ultimately, it's going to be turning out all right. Heard trailers and talks now revealing spoilers for Dread. Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess that would make sense. Okay, hold on. Yeah, this is not even the direction I needed to go in. I mean, I think Nintendo on the whole, like, was more than fine with how well received it was and sold overall for its time. It was really more just it was more just Sakamoto just being like way too in his own head about the type of story and like plot universe that he wanted to weave for the Metroid series, and that it just like got way out of hand with like Other M at that point. And I think the fact that like they themselves, like, both Sakamoto and Nintendo are not drawing as much attention to Other M anymore as like, in promotions for Dread and whatnot. I feel like it is the sort of thing where they kind of realize that, yeah, that was a thing that did not go over well with people, and they kind of are wise to not linger on it. And admittedly, I could probably kind of like see like where like maybe like that, you know, that issue of inferiority may have been coming from, if only because like that, like Metroid Prime basically was the go-to for console Metroid. Like Fusion and Zero Mission were all handhelds. Like that's basically where all the 2D Metroids have been relegated to. He can be great, but needs a heck ton of editing, certainly. And I do think he's definitely getting that. Unless, of course, he's also found like a... unless he's somehow found like some modicum of self-restraint on his part. Otherwise, no, I'm probably going to assume that there are other like producers on board. Maybe from both the Nintendo side and the Mercury Steam side that are trying to be all like telling him, no, let's not go in this direction again, please. Let's just make a good ass Metroid for once, you know, like a 2D one. Admit the gameplay wasn't holding up as I remembered, or maybe standards were different then. I mean, it's kind of both. I mean, I fully admit that like when it came to Other M's gameplay itself, I admired like the core idea of what they were going for, even though a lot of what it was doing was very misplaced. Like after 3 Metroid Prime games, which were like reinterpretations of the Metroid formula from like a first-person perspective, having an actual like 3D Metroid game where your advanced movement techniques actually resembled their 2D counterparts as close as they ever got, I think that was the part that I kind of admired and wish was in a better game, you know? Like the space jump, the screw attack, and like the speed booster, you know, speed booster specifically, that doesn't even exist in the Prime games. Screw attack and space jump do, but they are contextualized to be completely different. And the fact that they worked like the way that you expected them to do in Other M was kind of commendable, even though like a lot of the other ideas they had were really, really dumb. it's also the sort of thing where like it didn't hit me back then, but I recall after like when Ninja Gaiden 3 came out and just how they butchered like that series combat, I kind of turned that blame back to Other M and realized, oh wait, like this brain-dead simplistic combat was just the precursor to Hayashi's god-awful ideas for this third game. It was eye-opening to realize Other M was just Fusion, but worse. It really was! And it's real frustrating on that front in the when you consider the fact that Fusion is still a good game. It's still good in its own way, just because it's like, I've gone on I've talked about this before in the past, but the idea of where it's like that Metroidvanias are great because they are like so exploration focused and like non-linear. They're not leading you by the hand, when really it's like the good Metroids or Metroidvanias are linear by design because you have to go a specific path like through the map itself, collecting power-ups and abilities just so you can explore like those other areas more efficiently. That's the thing that kind of gets me, and why I really do not like get people that are like so like negative about Fusion in particular. Because it's like, even if you did not have like those navigation like rooms where Adam gives you your orders, if you were just left to find your way through Fusion without them telling you, it would still have been the exact same linear route you would have to go anyway. It just becomes more painful for those people because you have a voice in-game explicitly telling you where to go, as opposed to fooling you into thinking that you are that you are carving your own path. It's a difference between like implied leading and explicit leading. It's still leading you in a certain path, regardless. Okay. So after that rant, I'm trying to remind myself again where I need to go. The jump to full 3D made them hard to compare to the 2D games. Yeah. I mean that is ultimately like kind of like the blessing of like the Prime games in a weird way, is that it's because of like the difference in perspective. They kind of had to recontextualize a lot of those abilities to make them work, and it works great as like an alternative.
So, where shall we go next?
Yeah, Adam, at least for me, is whatever. If talking about him in just Fusion, that's fine. In Adam, like in Other M, like, yeah, fuck him. But then again, just like fuck every character in Other M to begin with. Not good in the slightest. They're not good in the slightest, and believe it or not, they are somehow made even worse by like the North American localization, because they somehow managed to take a crappy script and like change things about the characterizations to make those characters, especially Samus, come out seeming way worse than they actually would. It is really spectacular just how much of a disaster Other M is. Except Riggs, or is it Riggs, or I thought it was an... Oh wait, I guess, would Riggs be Anthony's last name? I guess that's what I'm thinking of. It's the guy that everyone joked about as like the Remember Me guy because of his one line in the original trailer. I mean, if that's the case, then yeah, I could at least side with that. He at least survives. Or Flippy Helmet Dude, yeah. I mean, they all have flippy helmets, but I know exactly the one you're talking about. Yeah, everyone remembers Anthony Riggs. Yeah, I'm just going along like the wrong route entirely just to get to Becky's house. But yeah, here's hoping to a good time with Metroid Dread. It really does sound like it's gonna be like a fun time. At least like a very inspired feeling like official Metroid game. And does flip with heavy cannons. Oh yeah, that's true. He was the heavy weapons dude of that entire squad. Man. And just thinking more about Metroid games. There's a whole lot of those that are definitely going to be like stuff that I'm going to need to find time to play through on stream. I obviously do not have the time to go through all the 2D ones before Dread comes out. Yeah, hopefully it's good, because, like, it's Metroid 5. Like that is a vote of confidence on the developers' part that they are like, yes, we are bringing back this this Metroid project that was originally, like, teased, but then canceled because we just did not have, like, the design or technological expertise to really make it work. And now they're like, no, the time is right. We're gonna do it. 100% Metroid Prime pinball run stream. Oh, wow. I don't know about pinball, but I would certainly be willing to, like, do 100% streams for, like, just the main trilogy. I know I can at least do it. I've done it multiple times, at least for Prime 1 and 2. Not 2. Prime 1 and 3 specifically. 2, I've only 100%ed once. And that's only because of just that, like, I'm not the most fond of 2 compared to, like, the other games in the whole trilogy. But it's still a good game. You know? Those would be a good time. Plus, I think after playing through all the handheld Igavanias, like, earlier this year, it really is only fair that I, like, return the favor by, like, streaming, like, the main 2D Metroid games and the Prime games on this channel. It only makes sense. Oh wait, hold on. I just remembered. I need to. There's a fishing pier nearby. Oh, the pinball game's actually pretty fun. Okay, I'll always, like, keep that in mind, I guess, yeah. It's just, if I'm remembering correctly, that is one where it's like, that's a DS game specifically. Like, which, if it is the case, then, like, I'm pretty sure, like I have Melon DS, like, that's been a pretty solid emulator in my experience that I have to imagine it can do it pretty well. But I'm just saying, I feel like at that point, if we're going to go to the extent of, like, playing, like, one of the DS Metroid games, it's like... No, see, there's the thing, though. I would still be interested in doing, like, doing a replay of Prime Hunters. Just, especially... Or maybe not. Well, not necessarily because of the quality of the game itself, but more just because I remembered, like, the, just the way that you use the touchscreen to move around and aim, that it's like, I could be using a mouse to do that, obviously. But the problem that came to my mind, actually, was the fact that, like, because of how it being a touchscreen, you basically have to, like, I would basically need to have, like, the mouse, like, cursor on, like, the touchscreen window, hold down the button, and then move it around without, like, going outside the window itself. Like, that's the only problem that I foresee, because otherwise, playing Metroid Prime Hunters, like, on a device that isn't a DS that you're trying to daintily hold in your hand, sounds certainly more comfortable. Like, yeah, I know the game's mid as hell, but I still played it back in the day. I had enough fun with it, especially with, like, a couple, like, random, like, online multiplayer matches. Obviously, I was a lot younger back then with different tastes.
FBI Special Agent Francis York Morgan. Please, call me York. That's what everyone calls me.
FBI? The police? I've got nothing to say to you. Please, go away.
It's always hard to think of a subject to talk about when you meet someone new.
Boy, ain't
Wouldn't
that the
Anna's
truth.
death be a common subject we can talk about?
I don't want to talk about it. No matter how many times you try, okay?
Becky with
Leave
the
me
bad
alone.
hair.
Go
Becky
away.
with the bad everything,
There's
if I'm
some
being
reason you want to
honest.
be alone?
Her model is not flattering.
My best friend was just killed. How would you feel?
I see. You and Anna were really close. I'm sorry. But I'm just doing my job. If you think of anything you want to talk about, contact me, okay?
That'll never happen. I don't really like the police.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Oh, yeah. Just talk to her one more time to get the side quest logged, and then we'll be on our way to
Mind if I ask you a
doing
couple
Delivery
questions?
Man Q.
I've got nothing to say.
Maybe this will change your mind.
And that's...
Anna's diary. Let me read you a part that I find very interesting. Dear Diary, today's the day of the ceremony, and I'm a little nervous about it. Any idea what this ceremony is?
Oh,
No
yeah.
idea.
Ellipses with the italicized
Okay.
question,
What about these? He
exclamation
doesn't
mark.
let anything slip.
Uh,
I'm really worried about Becky.
everything about
Delivery
York's
man Q
robotic
might be able to
pivoting
protect
as
Becky.
he's like
You're
reading
close.
from like the
And then
diary
Q,
and adjusting his
and then
position
it's
is so
Delivery
good.
man Q. You don't want to talk? Or are you too scared to talk?
Stupid cops. Just leave me alone.
Zach, this is a problem. How can we get her to open up? Maybe we should start with the easy one and look into Delivery Man Q.
Okay. Let's see, we're about 2 hours 24 minutes, and I think it is going to be possible that we're going to get like this first run through of the chapter all done before I call it quits for the stream. Because we're definitely getting near the point where, as I recall, like finishing up the Delivery Man Q side quest puts us very close to the end of the time limit that we have to get to the police station. So we just need to go around now and like get some extra things as we make our way over the Swery 65. It's been a nice evening all around. Just sitting down, getting to do this again. Good times. First, we need to make one pit stop over at the Muses Gallery. Yeah, I mean, it's just like looking at like the current in-game time. It's like because I've not been hanging around trying to like constantly like hunt for every like agent honor that is near like major points of interest. It's like I've like when I did my practice run, it was basically close enough to like 4 p.m. in game that like I didn't need to spend so long like smoking a cigarette to make time pass. Actually, hold on, I gotta check my map again just to make sure I did not. Oh wait, no, yeah, the left turn was coming up. You gotta keep consulting this map like if you were actually in this place for real and just trying to find your way around. The mini-map can only help you so much. Ah, okay. Oh wait, this was already open. I didn't even need to. Yeah, might as well look through like the windows anyway, just to have it logged in. And then, of course, every time you look into a window, you get like some extra money to your paycheck. These roads are poorly signposted. Someone should alert the city council. True. Yeah. But in a way, I guess that is like more than realistic enough, because I'm sure we've all had our fair share of like trying to like drive and navigate around like some place and just completely missing the turn you needed to because of just bad signposting. Okay. Alright, let's check the map again, because again, we're gonna have to drive from here to the bar, and I'm pretty sure there's another place we can get off to and, like, grab another bone, which is, yes, right over here. So yeah, just going south on Nightbird Way, and once we get to that open field that's on the, that will be to our right, we just stop there and pick it up. Ugh. You know, it's amazing to think about how, like, so often people will come up with, like, complaints about the narrative for games that have, like, both, like, a story-focused main quest and a bunch of side objectives, and how absurd it would have to be if, like, your main character was, like, trying to, like, do both at the same time, especially if, like, said story, main story plot had, like, a time pressure to it. But here it's like, it's not that hard to imagine York absolutely going out of his way to do all this stuff with the time he's given, because he is that kind of person that will just make people wait because he feels like it. Because something catches his attention that he wants to investigate and will just do it, even if it has no relevance. So yeah, what are those moments where, like, narrative and game design merge in a way that makes sense? Which is to say, it makes about as much sense as anything else in this goddamn game because of how so bizarre it is. But that's the beauty of it. Alright, here we are. This game makes Fallout 4 narrative structure like a look like a 90s JRPG.
Office, but if you want to act on a hunch, then I'm with you.
Yeah, it definitely, God, that game structure really does just get that bare bones. It is insane how bad it is in Fallout 4. Holy shit. Okay. Got the bone. And now to the bar, to Swery 65. Yeah, Swery 65, a name that, like, if you actually look at it in-game, like, it has the most bizarre placement of an apostrophe because it's not before the 65 like you think it would if you were trying to denote, like, a specific year. No, it's directly after the 65. But yeah, as it turns out, it's like, Yeah, we're already at the bar, and we have, like, a little more than 3 hours to spare until we can actually go into, like, Quinn's trailer to initiate the next part of the quest. Still, I think I'm gonna, like, look through here anyway, just to get some extra money for eavesdropping, because we're that kind of FBI agent. Okay. Just one more save along the way because that doesn't hurt. Alas, this game is not like the survival horror games of old in which it is heavily incentivized to, like, rotate your saves and make backups because of how things can go wrong. This, meanwhile, is like, nope, you got one save file and that's it. And if you want to replay a chapter, you can't save it. Your first run through is what carries over. Alright. Now you know what time it is. Time for a smoke. And got it. 4 o'clock on the dot. Oh yeah, also my hunger's probably going down quite a bit. Surgeon General's warning, smoking may lead to zombie outbreaks. You know what's the best part about that? Like, that kind of smoking warning would not be out of place with the variety of smokes that you find as collectibles in Escape from Butcher Bay. That game's, like, main collectible item being a bunch of, like, cigarette brands, like, in the future that all have extremely silly Surgeon General's warnings and, like, other disclaimers. Like, that's the best part. But yes, it is quite true. You smoke them long enough, generally around to about midnight. That's when the real freaky stuff happens. Don't do legal drugs. Agreed. It's only fun if you're doing drugs of the illegal kind. There we go, Quinn's bike tank. Now we've got to talk to this dude and, like, get something that's fairly finicky in order to trigger it properly.
Bring the FBI here?
I have an interest in
also, this entire side quest is, like, burned into my brain primarily because of, like, two best friends play of, like, the let's play that they did of this game, the director's cut, and how, like, just Pat trying to finish this side quest and not being able to get into Quinn's trailer because of just getting the wrong time and the wrong weather patterns, like, made him the bane of Pat's entire existence. It was hilarious.
Capture the perpetrator yourself, Quint.
How do you know my name?
I memorized the name of every citizen before arriving in town. I also know about you and your significant other.
You mean Becky?
York out here with, like, with the big plays.
We know and see everything.
The huge bluffs.
Sorry if I was a little harsh. I want to help, I do. Okay?
Okay, Zach, I'll tell you how I knew his name. He's got a small Q on his hat. That was the only name beginning with Q that I could think of. He was even kind enough to tell us his girlfriend's name. I can read him like a book, Zach.
Okay, now we need to get him away from his bike tank. Flipping can on lunatics.
Hey, hands off. No touching the collection, okay?
I really am wondering if, like, he's meant to, like, catch you the first time when you do that or not. Or maybe I just did it too early. Oh, I think it was too early, actually. Maybe.
Hey,
no. Oh, god damn it.
No touching the collection, okay?
Oh, right. I think I remember. I need to, like, investigate another part of the, of his trailer to get him to, like, move away so he's not directly behind me. Yeah, this whole part's real finicky. Just trying to get him away from his stupid bike. There we go. I think that's it now. This better be it. Yes, it is. Okay. Ah. Yeah, you literally have to get him, like... You can't just have him go to the mini fridge. He has to be, like, farther away. Secret gameplay mechanics.
Zach, look at this red powder. This must be what Delivery Man Q was transporting.
Yeah, red dust. The whole thing is like... It does amaze me in retrospect just how much it's like... Some of these side quests don't just exist for, like, the purpose of, like... giving you weird random things to do for the sake of, like, extra game hours, but that some of these actually have pertinence to, like, the main investigation. It's just that they don't change the actual story events at all because they're relegated to side content. It just, like, it just kind of, like, fleshes out, like, the background of, like, the murder scene and the town in a way that, like, you can infer further details about the main case when you have that knowledge.
Can't you give me an honest answer?
Like we all know, like, what this, like, stuff is that he's transporting. It's straight up just, like, ground up, like powdered, like, versions of, like, the red seeds that grow in this town, you know? Or, like, it's just with the seeds themselves.
Am I wrong about this?
No, it's nothing.
Yeah, that is. Like, yeah, it's how side quests are supposed to be. It's just kind of funny, though, in the sense that it's, like, that, like, some of these details that you get, like, these story points are, like, so important that you're surprised that, like, it doesn't factor as much into, like, York's investigation when just focusing on the main plot, you know? Still, it's really cool otherwise. Because there's, like, another side quest that comes to mind that has to do with a character that shows up periodically around the tree where Anna was murdered. And that's, like, another thing where, like, it does provide, like, like, another very important piece of info that, like, colors, like, the rest of the investigation and that character in particular. But it's never... But, like, they never directly address it when you're on the actual main quest itself. They just give it to you, and then the game expects you to kind of remember that and, like, piece that together as extra context. Not a lot of games go for that route. They either go the route of having it not factor into, like, the plot whatsoever, or they do, but they do it in such a way where it's, like, they try and have, like, a lot of, like, inner gameplay reactivity to it. Like, writing specific lines and flags to trigger that have the characters go, oh, you also did this thing. Deadly Premonition, meanwhile, just kind of has it, like, in a weird in-between state that still works to its own benefit. Okay, I'm trying to remember again, which is the road I need to take to go north. Right, okay. I'll just go straight, left, and then turn right. Because we gotta head over to Becky's to finish her quest. And then we can head on over to the sheriff's department and finally move on with the story. Which will also, once again, make for a very good stopping point because, man, I have already been at this for like 2 hours and 40 minutes. This game has a lot of hours to give if you're willing to, like, dig into every single bit of content it has. They hand the engine over to the B team and say, please add 20 hours of make work quests so we can charge $80 at release. Yeah. Just funny too, because like the A team for this game was essentially a B team. They added those 20 hours of make work quests, and they were generous enough to still charge the game for $20 at launch, which is a really great price for this when it came out. So much so that it really does bug me that, like, when I was finally able to get this copy, the cheapest I was able to get it for was $35. Like, it's all the more kind of frustrating, like, when you play, when a budget game like this comes out and it becomes a cult hit, and, like, that causes the value to, like, very quickly become a lot more than what it originally was. And that's the thing, it's like, I mean, I've seen some copies for this game go for like $50, but it's fortunately never been so expensive that it starts getting charged for triple digits. It thankfully has never gone to that point, but I still get that feeling that reminds me again of, like, kind of how screwed the retro game market is, where just everything is so much more than it really deserves to be priced for. Because more people, especially for ones that, like, grew up with these specific systems, are now having the nostalgia and the disposable income to get these games and just drive up the prices as a result. And that's not even taking into account, like, the obvious shams like WATA and Heritage Auction that are just, like, deliberately trying to manipulate the market for their own dumbass $1 million auctions. That is true. It is a lot funnier when a AAA title tanks and they start lowering the price and giving it away for free with GPUs. That is so true. Hell, I even remember, I think it was when I got my 1050 Ti, when I built my last PC, that, like, I think it was like it came with, like, codes for 2 different games, one of which I think was an Assassin's Creed game. And at the time once I got it, I was like, I know for a fact I won't absolutely need these games, so I'm just gonna, like, flip both of these codes on, like, the Something Awful Marts and, like, basically, like, just sell them for 30 each and basically get back the amount for, like, a full price game, you know, and use that for something else that I could treat myself to. And it worked, you know? But yeah, it's just always, like you said, it's real amusing when that happens, especially because when you think about how, like in another time period, like the 90s or early 2000s, it would have seemed more like a really huge deal that would, to, like, have a game be a pack-in with a graphics card. Because it would usually be designed in a way to actually kind of better promote, like, the card itself and, like, what features it has and how the game is actually taking advantage of it. You don't really have that these days. It's more just like a bonus that is done to kind of just to kind of deal with it. In conclusion, SA Mart's a land of contrasts. Ain't that the truth?
Where'd you get that?
Quint's trailer. He's delivery man Q, isn't he? You don't have to hide it any longer. I'm on your side. Will you tell me everything you know?
Yes, he's delivery man Q. But he's got nothing to do with Anna's death. So please just leave him alone, okay? I beg you.
That all depends on what else you can tell me, Becky. His being delivery man Q doesn't prove he had nothing to do with Anna's murder. Is there any way to get him to make a statement about this?
Okay.
York doing very reasonable investigation work in order to get these people, for the moment, cleared of any suspicions regarding the murder.
And tell him I can't accept it.
Hmm.
That's all I can do. Don't ask me for anything more. You'll get us both killed.
Becky's already confessed to like 2 crimes. Lock her up.
That's okay.
True.
We'll get
I mean,
Mary
she's very much like.
Let's go give Mr.
I mean, like, obviously, York himself hasn't even, like, presented the idea of a search warrant, but, like, she's already resisting, like, the idea of, like, coming forward with any helpful, like, evidence or information, or even allowing him to, like, see more in the house itself. But, I mean, at the very least, it's, like... Knowing like with the backstory of the plot, at the very least, she is still guilty by like being very much associated with some people that were very clearly responsible for Anna's death to begin with. So, yeah, no wonder she's deathly afraid. Okay, so now we got like 20% in the tank. I really need to be more efficient with like where I'm driving so that I can just get to the bar. Give Quentin the engagement ring, and have him give me the infinite wrench. Then work our way over to the gas station. Actually, if I'm being honest, I might just like go to the gas station first because I really am starting to worry about like if I'll have enough. Hold on, so. Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna go straight to the gas station first and then go back to Swery 65. I'm already starting to... I am getting a bit tired, though. That, like, I am starting to think that maybe once I finish the side quest, that'll actually be the end of the stream for tonight. Like, it's almost 9 p.m. my time, and I feel like even with the... if I were to go straight to the sheriff's department and just go exactly to where I know like the flying squirrel key is, like between that and all the cutscenes that take place there, it would probably still go past the hour, and I'm kind of wanting to like wind down at this point, but that's fine because it's like if I do say that for next stream, can get that out of the way at the beginning and then just immediately go into the chapter replays and proceeding through the rest of the game. But yeah, we're already like 10%. The freaking gas on this thing drains so much faster than it does in my car. God, this is real bad. Yeah, I'm definitely making the right call to just go straight to the gas station first. This is real ridiculous. Yeah. York's salaried, so I bet he doesn't even get paid extra for overtime. That's true. Like, there's a lot of things he gets paid for, and then some stuff that he gets demoted, pay cut out of his check for. Some of it's reasonable. You know, such as doing stuff to like cause stress for citizens, like pointing a gun at them. But then there's stuff where it's like, it's not really hampering his ability to do his job, but it is bringing some amount of shame, and that's obviously what I'm talking about. Is the stinky agent penalty? You know. Okay. Yes, please fill up the gas. And who knows how much of his paycheck goes to Zach. That's true. Man, it must be really convenient being able to have a job if it's the same job that you're sharing with the other personality. Like, you're just riding along in this guy's head the whole way. And it's like, yeah, why not? Yeah, you clearly get some cut of the pay, even though you're not doing, like, the bulk of the legwork, physically speaking. It's a pretty sweet deal. Granted, again, that means you have to be another person's, like, personality instead of your own autonomous flesh being. But, hey, you know, pros and cons. You take what you can. All right. Let's get me that infinite wrench. Oh, and also while I'm at it as well, I might just once I turn it in, I'll talk to Richard just because he's nearby and in this trailer anyway, just to get that cutscene, and then we'll save. Alternate perspective. York only thinks he's an FBI agent. All communications with the office are hallucinated, and he's doing all this on his own. Oh, God. That would be such a huge con with so many damning consequences if anyone were able to, like, call him out and go, hang on, he's not an authorized agent. What the fuck?
She can't accept it.
Can't accept it? What does that mean?
Exactly what it sounds like, Quint. I think she was extremely worried about you. I'm just guessing, but she's been giving you the plants to make the red powder, hasn't she? Then you rode your bike out of town. You went on a trip, and you sold the powder somehow. You bought that ring with the money. That's why she gave me the ring. She wants to stop you from making any more trips. She doesn't want you to get involved anymore with this.
But I did all this for her. I started out delivering because I wanted the extra cash. But you know, things like this change over time. As you can see, her family is loaded, and I live in a trailer house. She's out of my league, you know? And so I wanted to be the kind of guy she could be with.
Quint, you already are. You didn't need money for that.
Exactly.
Have things gone too far? Because of me?
I mean, it's plenty it's definitely the dream of plenty of guys out there that just want to be, like, loved by the girl who's totally rich and well off in life.
Can you hold off on arresting me just for a little while? I want to apologize to her.
Yeah, and also, like, his trailer house, it's not bad at all,
please?
You know?
I'll turn myself in.
It looks as much as like a respectable home as you could hope it to be, you know?
Huh?
Why would I arrest an innocent youth such as yourself? Quint, I'm busy with a murder investigation here.
I mean, tiny houses on wheels exist in the world,
okay?
You know?
If you really want to
people have done a lot to, like, make those kind of things, like, small and cozy and still look like inviting, like, well-made homes.
But I want you to take this as a thank you gift.
There we go, Wrench Infinity. Hell yeah.
Zach, another young life saved. Good job.
Ah, yes. How many trailers have hardwood floor? That is a very good question. Okay, if I knew DP was $20 and the word of mouth was much better at launch, I probably would have gotten it back then. Yeah, I mean, like, again, for me, like, my first exposure to it was Giant Bomb covering it through, like, the Endurance run, and, like, shortly after, Super Great Friends Let's Play of it. So it's like, already, at least from the circles that I was in, it was definitely, like, I definitely felt like I was seeing enough word of mouth that, like, yeah, this game is jank, but it is amazing, and you should play it. And I would have gotten it if it wasn't for the fact that I never owned a 360 during the generation it was relevant. That's kind of the problem I had, really. You know? Like, it's the sort of thing where, like, during, like, PS2 and GameCube, I had those at the same time. And I remember, like, early on, like, in the 360 PS3 generation, thinking that, like, yeah, I'm obviously going to have a Wii because, you know, like, Nintendo systems. But I was also like, man, 360 is so compelling. But that was really only until, like, midway through 2008, I feel. Like, once Ninja Gaiden 2 came out and Itagaki left Team Ninja, it was like, I think Kaboom Dragoon, like, said it best when we were doing the Let's Play for Devil's Third, where I think he described it as, like, Itagaki leaving Team Ninja was like the crows fleeing the Tower of London, where, like, if that were to happen, it would be a sign of things falling apart, which it was. Like, a lot of things about, like, the
Okay.
360 as it
That
were
Scary
became
Hairs
less
tells me you got
interesting
your
to me
hands full too,
afterwards, and
right?
it made me feel a
Let's
lot
not
better
dive
about
into
the fact that
personal
my
matters.
family got a
It'll be better
PS3
for you
for
and me. You're right,
primarily for
Richard.
them to, like, have a Blu-ray player, and I got to
gossip
play
won't
games
help
on it
with
as
the
a
matter at
bonus.
hand.
And it just so happened that as both systems went on, the PS3 started to improve a lot, and the 360 was starting to kind of lapse just because of, like, the feeling of early success they had. Yeah, but now look at me. I got a used 360 that I was able to buy for less than $100 a few years ago, and I now have the means to play such classics as Ninja Gaiden 2 and Deadly Premonition. Also, Amp 3. Amp 3 is incredible. That is another 360 game that will absolutely be like something that I will stream next month, because middle of November will be the 16th anniversary of the 360. Because, yeah, that is like the best summation. 360. Compelling at launch. Lackluster at end. That is pretty much it. Like the first... It made a 180 instead. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, that's the funny thing about that, because it's like, I feel like there were two things that were like big signs that the system was no longer something I was wanting to be interested in. One was the fact that Team Ninja's Xbox exclusivity support had ended with Itagaki leaving, and then the second was when they like did the first dashboard update, and I was like, seriously, you had to get rid of the blades. Why? Why was this necessary? Like, sure, cross-media bar is loaded with so many options that are buried underneath each other that it's hard to find, but it's still, like, an elegant design, and they knew it, so they kept it. Blades were, like, similarly, like, functional and cool-looking in a way that I think I appreciate more and more now that, like, I'm able to, like, very accurately kind of pinpoint it as having still, like, it carries a lot of that same Windows XP design aesthetic to it, with like the colors and solid like solid aspects to it, you know, like the rounded edges and whatnot. It's not the sleek, like almost formless look that you get with like Windows 10 or like any of Microsoft's products these days, where it's trying to go so much more minimalist. Yeah, I absolutely miss Blades as well. I feel like if 360 modding was not such a crapshoot, I would like to think that if it was possible for it to be a more common thing, that people would absolutely be making custom dashboards to recreate the blades. I feel like that, like, if that was possible, if trying to find like a way to like mod like a 360 to get extra functionality and run backups and whatnot wasn't such a pain in the ass, I bet you that's what would happen. Because as it stands, OG Xbox has plenty of options for like custom dashboards that you can load onto the thing, you know? OG Xbox is incredible when you get that thing soft modded and loaded up with like anything you can imagine, like on a hard drive that you can fit in that thing. It is fantastic. Anyway, we're already at the 3-hour mark. Yeah, I'd also kind of consider the same thing. It's like the people that make it think it's sleek. In practice, it's really not. You know? It's just kind of there. But that's it for tonight's stream. The next one's going to be on Wednesday, not at the same time as it was for Monday, because, again, Wednesdays and Saturdays, I'm going to be trying to stream them earlier in the day so I give myself more time to get through all the side content. But, like, thanks for being here for this whole 3 hours, you know? Glad to be entertaining with this game, even when, you know, you're clearly just doing a whole lot of driving and collecting trading cards. Yeah. You all have a good night, as well as everyone else that like catches this VOD later, you know? Okay. Later.